Hey, I'm Destinee from FateofDestinee. Can you prove that your Glock is reliable? I did a recent video where I went to the range and I compared a couple of features of performance for the Ruger SR9C and compared them to the Glock 19. And that video started a whole lot of discussion of Ruger fans and Glock fans kind of duking it out, giving their opinions of what they like about their firearms. And one of the general trends I noticed about the Glock fans was that reliability kept coming up as an advantage for and a reason to buy a Glock. But I wonder, how can you prove that your Glock is reliable before you've purchased it? How do you know? What data do you use to determine that a gun is reliable before you purchase it? If a number of people say the gun is reliable, is that good enough? If that's the case, we can go back to that SR9C versus Glock video and look through the comments, because there are scores of them saying that Glocks are reliable. Some of you already know that my major in college is biology, and I think that has kind of trained me to be a little bit more scientifically minded with how I approach questions like, is something reliable? So just word of mouth isn't really good enough for me. I want to see more research, especially if I can get peer-reviewed research. I'm curious what your standards are. For example, is there maybe a statistic that you like to track so you know how reliable something is? Or if law enforcement personnel or military personnel use a particular firearm, does that equate to its reliability? Maybe a round count is more valuable for reliability, like how many failures out of 1,000 rounds or out of 10,000 rounds. For those of you who do trust a manufacturer, is there a particular manufacturer where, regardless of the gun, you just trust them because you know, Glock makes great guns, so if it's a Glock, it must be reliable, right? What about guns then that don't have a track record, like the new XDS? To find out how some people determine reliability for their firearms, I took a little bit of an informal survey. What I did was went to Google and just typed in Glock 19 reliability article to weed out forums. And out of the top 5 articles, I picked 3. And I'm going to show you how they determine reliability for the Glock 19. The first one here is usacarry.com. They determined that this Glock 19 is reliable by saying, Glocks are more reliable and durable than practically any handgun available at any price. So they don't mention how many rounds they fired through it or having any issues with it, but they do mention that they trust Glock and that if the 19 is a Glock, it must be reliable because of that. The next site is High Powers and Handguns. Here he tells us, the reviewer says that he uses 5 different kinds of ammo. They have different grain weights and they're different bullet types. Like we've got flat nose and closed base, full metal jacket, jacketed hollow points. So he doesn't mention how much of each kind he fires, but that he has tried different pressures and different bullet styles. And then I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I've already read this article. This is the only mention of reliability here. There were no failures of any kind with this pistol. So it seems that this particular reviewer judges his interprets reliability by how well the gun performs with different kinds of ammunition. The last article that I'm looking up is the Truth About Guns post on the Glock 19. I've read through the article, and the only real mention to reliability is right here. Reliability, 5 stars. It's a Glock. Enough said. No hiccups of any kind. So we have a mention of the Glock performing with ammunition, but we don't know what kinds, or how many rounds, and there's also that reference to it's a Glock, so that kind of trust in the manufacturer. Who do you trust when you go to research on a firearm? Do you go to websites like The Truth About Guns or The Loadout Room? Is YouTube an option for you? I know when I'm researching, I like to take a big kind of sample of articles and YouTube videos And there are a couple of personalities in particular that I trust. I like to go to like Hickok 45's channel and Military Arms channel to see if they've done any videos on a gun that I'm looking at. I don't just take their word as gold, but I think they do very in-depth reviews, and so I respect their opinions. Did you have any particular personalities that you trust before you get a gun? Let me know in the comments or give me a video response. Even after having done that video and getting response on the Ruger SR9C and the Glock 19, I'm still kind of on the fence about which one I want. So, to you guys who already own Glocks, I present a challenge to you. Can you prove to me that your Glock is more reliable, namely more reliable than a Ruger? I'd love to see your research, so leave me a comment or especially a video response and show me how you determined that your Glock was reliable. So occasionally, I try to keep their meows out of the videos, but this is one of my cats, Xerxes, and his brother is Leonidas. And they like to shed all over me. But I wanted to share that with you because I'm definitely nerdy, and so I think my cats' names are pretty rad. This little whiny butt is my cat Leonidas. Yeah, you're handsome, I know. I try to keep their meows out of videos, but sometimes they aren't really agreeable when I go to record. They'll always be like perfectly quiet, and then they wait until I hit the record button because I'm pretty sure all my pets have this magical sense for when I'm trying to shoot a video.